Hi, my name is Sam Price, the Crypto Lifer, and today I want to break down a macro analysis video for you, give you a big picture of what's happening in the charts so you're not zeroed in on the tiny time frames. We're going to look at what's happening on the big picture, see where Bitcoin could be going, and look at this treachery. Massive dumps for Bitcoin. Is it going to continue? What's happening to the S&P? Where's gold looking? We're going to look at it all, not just Bitcoin, to give you a big picture of the macro world market. Let's have some fun. Let's do it. We do this every single Friday. Let's jump on in, shall we? First thing we're looking at here is BTC. And if you like this, I live stream every single day, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., and Saturday and Sunday nights at 8 p.m., and that's Eastern Daylight Savings Time, New York City time. Just write NYC time, and that's the time you'll catch me streaming. So the first thing we're going to look at is the monthly chart, and we're going to take a look at the monthly. Now, Bitcoin started today above its monthly support, which is about 108,800. I'm going to see right where this candle opened. It was 108,246. So about 108,250, we can call it, was a key level for Bitcoin. If the monthly had stayed above it, we could have said, hey, there's a chance that creates a flag and Bitcoin stays in the flag and then continues further to the upside, right? You had to say that's possible. Today, the monthly candle has now broken below that support level. So you have to kind of start looking for a deeper area of support. Now, we've wicked to it already in that massive move last Friday, which was insane, right? It's crazy, right? I did my macro analysis, and then the market just absolutely collapsed. It didn't look amazing. We did have to hold the key level, but we did test 102,005. We did test monthly support and mounts, but right now, this monthly candle may come even further down and close lower. So it's bearish. The monthly looks bearish to me. It lost the key level. So right off the bat, the monthly lost a level that I've been talking about for a while, all right? That's just the one thing I got to talk about. Secondly, I'm going to kind of break down a trend line here, and you could say, yeah, Bitcoin's in a pretty sharp trend to the upside, which means it could test this trend line and still continue to the upside. So we could bounce right here off of this low, off of 100K, and it's still, and technically we could then send our way back up to the top of this resistance area. So Bitcoin could do one of these, bounce, get tight, make a beautiful symmetrical triangle, and then begin to break on out of here to the upside for its next leg. The only thing about that is, let's take a look at that with a measurement tool and hold shift, and you're talking 161 days. You're saying you're not breaking out somewhere till March or April, which is crazy, but that's, and then you'd still possibly get to 181,000, but not till May, June, maybe even July, you get into the 100. So this could take a long time. Bitcoin doesn't just rip out of nowhere. Look, the last time we had a big high like we've had kind of now with a lot of liquidity, it took a long time for Bitcoin to gear up for its next move. It took 196 days, right? And you could say, okay, fine, it might take that long and we're already 98 days. So it still could take about 100 more days, 100, it could take some time. Seriously, this is a massive move for Bitcoin. It could take some time. Another thing, it looks somewhat like a diamond here too, and that a diamond in could be a diamond out back down to these areas. So, but this is the most bullish scenario. I'm giving you some hopium copium that still would take a long time for Bitcoin to get to the levels everyone's saying we're going to get. But that's like the first bit of hopium, that we're going to hold that key level. We could bounce, right? And so let's kind of talk about that. The weekly has resistance, and that means they're supported about $104,000. And we whipped there earlier today. We've bounced off of it. There's a chance that could hold on the weekly, and we could close the weekly, a tweezer bottom next to it. But so far, bearish. This is bearish. You've lost this key level of support on the 5-day, which was resistance. Same in the 3-day. Look, 3-day resistance right here. You got below it. Once you lost 109, it was a very key area of support and resistance. And then I draw this trend line, which I feel like you've lost. You could say, no, we're trying to get back inside. We're bullish. We're going to bounce. Again, that's a last-minute copium idea, which could happen. I'm not against it, but and I'll be one of the first people to see it. I'll look at it every day until we get a small move that shows us a move to the upside. Like today, I was able to call along on my show earlier today, and we actually took gains on the live stream. It didn't mean I'm overly bullish. It just means we were able to catch a couple moves, right? We look at the daily, and the daily's attempting to get back above its 200 moving average. If today the daily can close a candle above this yellow line, there's some hope that that was the end of the dump, and we are getting a move back to the upside. You're going to look for tomorrow to close a green candle next to a red one. Just like this, green next to red, green next to red, green next to red, green next to red, green next to red. Until we get a green candle closing next to a red with a tweezer bottom, we will not reverse. We have to get that to reverse. There's a chance we could do it. If we close below this 200, I would assume we're going to continue to get more daily closes to the downside. This head and shoulder will play out, and we're headed down to the 2-day 200 moving average. All right. So once you lose the daily 200, you usually go down to the 2-day 200 moving average, or at least the next big support zone. That's 101,000. And then you're looking down here at somewhere at like 95, 96K. So, maybe a little chop at 100K, obviously 100,000 psychological level, but that doesn't look good for Bitcoin on the daily time frame, right? I mean, you can see it, shoulder, head, right shoulder. I feel like we already lost the neckline, which was somewhere like this, right? And we're already dumping. Last resort is that 200 moving average on the daily. Can we get back above it? After the nasty dump, it shows like there's a chance, but you never know. Since this morning, we have bounced off 103 all the way back up to about 107,400, and now we're hovering at 106.8. I was going to watch price action today because people are keen on it. Like I said, I was looking for the 15-minute to get back above the 200. I would not long any serious long unless you get back above 109.5, make a flag or something in this area. That, to me, is a continuation area. If you don't get that, to me, it's all just up and down. Who knows what's really going to happen? Bit of an Adam and Eve there. Things looking okay. Right now, I'm looking for this to kind of flag out if there's another opportunity. Earlier today, we just took a quick move out of a cup and handle on the 15. Nothing crazy. But anyway, I don't want to get too micro for you. This is your macro analysis. So you're looking for the daily to close above the 200. If it does not, the levels that we're looking for is, 95, 90, you're looking at, we could go by next week, we could be at $96,000. We really could. At the same time next week, we could be here. So, we might make an inverted head and shoulder and save the day. It really all depends on this close today on the 200 moving average on the daily. So you'll watch this, and then I heed you to check that tonight, 8 p.m. New York City time, Eastern Daylight Savings Time, U.S., and that's going to be one of the biggest, closes for Bitcoin. If it closes below, there's definitely chances of going to 104, 101, and even further to the downside, right? If you look at Bookmap, which tells you where there's a lot of orders, we're finally getting big red up at 109, which we haven't had in a while. So now there's some shorts piling in, and that could send us to 109,000, which is amazing. Liquidity has flipped back to the upside slightly. So there's a chance here today that we do get a reversal. There's a chance. Watch for the 5-minute to flag here above the, with the 21 and the 2. Watch for that to pump up to the 15-minute 200 moving average, right? And look for possibly the 1 hour to make this inverted head and shoulder here and get our way back to the upside. I'd watch the 5-minute through the 1 hour for a reversal. Even though this is the macro, you got to look at these areas to see if you're going to turn today. And then on the macro, you're looking for the daily to stay above this 200 moving average. Let's move on to the total market cap, which was a little better than Bitcoin. Why? Because it hasn't lost the 200 moving average. I'm going to make this one a lot briefer. Again, you know what Bitcoin's likely going to do, and that depends on the rest of the market. There's so much dominance. So you're looking for this to hold and do something like this, okay? Bounce and stay inside this pattern. This would be key for Bitcoin, and we may even bounce a little sharper like this. I don't know how it's going to be. It would be nice if it stays somewhere in there like that. We don't know for sure, but what I am looking for is a bullish consolidation for BTC inside of a ascending triangle of types here and a bounce. The greatest thing about total is it isn't below the daily 200 moving average. That tends to be that was the greatest time to get in right there before a massive pump. Same thing here. The fear is also very high. It's at 22. Every time I've seen the fear in this area and I've bought Bitcoin, I've been rewarded for it. I bought more Bitcoin yesterday. I had no choice. These levels are amazing. At the same time, you never know what's going to happen, but I do buy the fear. You do whatever makes you happy. I'm not a financial advisor. You do whatever makes you happy. I can't tell you what to do, but I buy this fear every time we're from, 22 down, 21, 25 down. Usually great discount prices for Bitcoin compared to the way they are throughout its life cycle, right? In the grand scheme of things. So total, we're looking for this bounce. It's very important we get the bounce, and it's cool that we did stay above the 200 moving average. That's a little more bullish. Again, you get below that, things are going to start to change. And you have to start thinking you're going to hit the point of control and then further down to 3 trillion. But right now, I remain optimistically bullish here that we can still bounce off this 200. And that could have been a great move, honestly, just some discount prices. We take a look at total 3, and you need to remain calm in these areas. You have to remain calm. You have to. We look at total 3. This is all the altcoins, right? Excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum, and the same idea. You got a beautiful trend line. You've got this forming. You got to get the bounce. You do not want to start closing below the 200 moving average on the daily. You do that for altcoins, they're coming down to 813. If you don't, I mean, this just turned out to be one of the greatest price discounts in history. They're going to bounce this thing and make it tight. And we're possibly going to get a move to the upside, right? Something like this, and all the way up to about $1.76 trillion. So this is something that's and look, previous resistance is support. I mean, you got a bunch of confluence here that we could get the bounce. You want to look at that stochastics RSI. It is very oversold with a bullish divvy, too, on the indicator telling us we could get a bounce here. So I like that we're above the 200 moving average on the daily. Even though Bitcoin's below, this shows some signs of support here, right? And they've done a lot psychologically to the market. It's in heavy fear. It didn't take too long to do it either from an all-time high, which is interesting. A huge all-time high, a week later, heavy fear. I don't know. I smell some manipulation there, right? They're just too closely packed together, don't you? Don't you think? Let's take a look at Bitcoin dominance. That should be rising if you think about it, if you see what's happening. So let's take a look at it on the weekly. We'll delete everything, but you can see I got like a head and shoulder there. So Bitcoin dominance is moving, but it seemed like it did peak at that 6.5 level. Remember, BNB's been hot, Solana's hot. There's been a lot of things that you want to get into. AI, all right, there's going to be new coins. That's COAI. A bunch of coins went up huge this week out of nowhere, right? Again, if Bitcoin does take the show again, we will maybe slowly consolidate, but it could make a right shoulder and then start to drop again for the altcoin. So I'd like it to bounce a little bit, gain some strength, go sideways, get the market back where it needs to be, and then give money back into the altcoin. So we're looking for Bitcoin dominance to pump probably a little more. I wouldn't be jumping AO into altcoins right now. I'd be more watching Bitcoin for recovery. And again, there's a chance if Bitcoin continues to dump, dominance will likely rise, because dominance rises when people jump out of altcoins for Bitcoin. They don't want to leave the cycle all the way, but they don't want to get into Tether, so they jump into Bitcoin. Or they get into Bitcoin and some Tether. They're like, you know what? I'm done being in this alt. I'm just going to throw it in Bitcoin and leave it in here for a few years, put it in. And that raises, so when you get bearish, Bitcoin dominance does raise with Tether dominance. They raise together, all right? In the best times, Bitcoin dominance is going down with Tether dominance, and the money has to flow into the altcoins. The best time for altcoins, right? And when Bitcoin's absolutely ripping, Bitcoin dominance is going up while Tether dominance is going down. But this is kind of showing signs of Bitcoin dominance going up, and now you need to look at Tether. And look, it looks like it's about to surge on the weekly too. On the 3-day chart, it's a little overbought, but still above the 200, and it does still look like there's some room to the upside here. It could come up and then just make a right shoulder. We're looking for it not to ever get back above that resistance at 61.26%. Now, this is the icing on the cake, or the key to the door. You got to look at Tether dominance. Now, Tether dominance on the weekly, getting a little oversold and tapped out by the 200. Good sign that we might just kind of curve out here, right? Just kind of like see like a shoulder, head, right shoulder, shoulder. Like it's not the strongest. See how it's curving on the stochastics? And like I have a bit of a flag here. So you can see, remember we drew this flag, so you don't want to see Tether dominance pump to the upside. It did, and I said it looks like we could see. Remember, even before the dump, I said the dump last night. I said, man, Tether dominance looks like it may actually go on a tear. We have to watch this. If that flags out above the 200, bang, right? A little bit of bearish div now coming in though, showing lack. See that's a move up, that's a move down. Lack of strength. 4 hour 2 is a little extended, but not the worst. And if I look at the daily, it is getting a little overbought, but it did get above the 200 moving average. So it tells me to watch the altcoins, right? And even the overall market. This dump may not be over yet. Tether dominance doesn't look weak enough just yet. We needed to break back below the daily 200. So I'd be careful right now. This suggests that maybe Bitcoin isn't done dumping just yet. All right. I got to put that out there. We may flop around a little bit more before we actually get out of this. Maybe we do hit 102.5 or 100,000. So be careful. Tether dominance is giving us a little bit of a warning sign here. The DXY, you feel like, is just continuing its slump. It attempt to make a high, but I don't see it breaking above that over time. You see? Kind of almost in that. But I see it, just kind of ranging. In the last 6 or 7 days, that has been, falling to the downside and in a resistance there. Could slightly make a higher low. Let's take a look at it on the 3-day chart. 3-day chart looks extended too with a lower high. I say this makes a descending triangle and continues down. And then we get, I don't see how altcoins can, I just don't see how altcoins can't pump. And then we have a couple more rate cuts, so that looks bearish. That looks like cat ears to me too. It looks bearish. The DXY looks like it's going to dump. Gold been showing the strongest signs ever, and it hit all the targets. Remember, we put it out down here on the bigger time frame. Even on the 3-day chart, we put out this flag to 4,000. It hit. Then I put out this flag just the other day. I put out this flag and talked about it going to 4,376. It hit my exact target. I gave this trade to the lifers. Then we double topped and had a little bit of some weird dumpage here. But for the most part, look at gold just continuing to rip. So if I were to look at gold, I'd look at it on the weekly, and you can see it's a blow off top on the weekly. I mean, that's insane, right? And the 21 away from the 200. That's you're getting some bearish div. You're getting into the shaded region on the RSI. I would say if gold continues, it's going to have to do another one of these. I feel like it's starting to peak. And I'd say gold now will go on another sideways, price action until somewhere in April where it starts to rip again. But for me, it looks like the rally for gold is topping out a bit here. I'd be careful with the way. See, every time you get away from the 3-day, you're at least going to go somewhat sideways. If you're really bullish, you're going to go sideways for about 2 to 3 weeks, and then possibly pump again somewhere or maybe 2 to 3 months, and you pump again somewhere in May. I say gold is topped out though and starting to go sideways. In my humble opinion, it's hit all my targets, and who knows? You never know, but it looks to me like gold is topped out. S&P futures, I told you not to worry. I told you they were going to continue to pump these prices and not stress, right? And so let's kind of look at what happened here. So I said, watch this flag. They're going to make a flag. They're going to definitely farm all the liquidity they can here, which they did. It made sense to me. But I still feel like because the dollar isn't strong enough, they're going to print money to zero. The stock market just looks too good to be true, and it is, and people are going to get in. It's crazy, right? So I see this kind of going up and down. I see sideways price action for the S&P, and just like I called the bounce here, which is perfect, you're still in the money. All the calls I made on the S&P have been spot on, especially on this exact video, if you watch the macro. So like I call a call there with a stop loss below those wicks, something like that. That's a 3.7 risk reward ratio. I believe the S&P will continue to pump. NASDAQ, same idea. Like they're hanging out, but they're going to start pumping this thing up to the upside. Look, that NASDAQ trade is still in the money from the 23,593 entry. And I'll keep that up there until we hit the bigger target. And it will take time. It'll take from September 9th all the way possibly to, I don't know, December or January, right? But that's how long a trade can take. I'm still bullish on the NQ as well. So that's kind of your macro analysis video, right? We go over Bitcoin, the total market cap of all of crypto, total 3, the market cap of all the altcoins. We look at Bitcoin dominance, Tether dominance. We look at the DXY, right, to see what's happening with the dollar. And then we look at gold, and we also look at the NASDAQ and the S&P futures. Give you a really good macro analysis of what's happening so you can kind of get a good handle of where the market is looking and going. Everybody, thank you so much for watching this video. I do it every single Friday. I'd love if you jump on in and watch it. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications. You can find out when I post my next video. And remember, if you came to the channel, then you're already doing the right thing. Crypto is life.